Cheers! Welcome to my channel. This is a daily tarot oracle reading, Tattle Tales from the Vector. This is a general or collective reading, so parts of it may or may not resonate with you. Take what works for you and just leave the rest. This is also a timely reading, meaning if you're watching it at this time, it's perfect for you. If it has been a while since I posted this, what was going on in your life back then that could give you further clarity as to your situation now. All right, I did a quick meditation with this lapis lazuli crystal. This has got gold pyrite in it, and it is about having the personal and spiritual growth, basically. And we have the energy of the 10 of Wands as the underlying energy for this reading. And 10 of Wands is talking about the element of fire. There's a lot of fire in this reading already here. So this is the element of fire, and the 10 of Wands is the most that you can have. Wands are made of wood, and so they fuel fire. And so this is about taking passionate action. So this has quite a few meanings, this card, because it's talking about clearly someone is feeling like a heavy load here, that they're burdened down by, or having trouble getting to their home. This is representing a harvest. The wands are representing seeds that you planted with your actions and other people's actions in your inner circle. And then this is the fruits of your labor. So this is bringing your harvest home. Now you can see that it's really heavy and he's having a difficult time doing so. And if you've ever heard the saying, can't see the forest for the trees, that's talking about this. Like his head is so close to the wands here that it's about being so enmeshed in the detail that you can't see the big picture anymore. He can't see how close to home he already is. Like he's maybe 10 minutes away, but he feels like he's way further. And this is talking about how a lot of people feel when they are working on a project and they're working on it. And then finally it feels like, finally I'm going to get home, but you don't know if you can make it. You're just so tired. And what this card is talking about is he's like maybe 10 minutes from his castle here. So this card is telling you for number one, don't quit now, keep going. And also, if you're carrying burdens of other people, you want to make sure you put those down. Just in the field there, like you can't be carrying the burdens of people when you're so laden down by it that you barely can, get to your home and, deal with your harvest. And so this also can talk about needing to figure out other ways maybe to make your life easier, to delegate some responsibilities, to be able to move forward and have a little bit less to do for yourself. Because this is someone that is clearly, past the point of exhaustion. And then we have this energy here of the five of the Hierophant, which is number 5 in the major arcana. And in my oracle, this is a dragonfly energy. And the dragonflies, they are intimately connected to the dragon energy. Helicopters were originally engineered by observing how the dynamics of the movement of the dragonfly. Like they're able to hover, they're able to really do complicated aerial maneuvers, and they can also go straight up and down. And so this energy of the dragonflies in the oracle is talking about being able to use the power of light to awaken, your inner light, and also to be able to adapt, very quickly to situations. So life on the wing, basically. And the Hierophant energy is talking about being in it's the traditional structure on the physical 3D planet, where for bringing law and order in, and it comes the justice comes from the spiritual realm and then comes down to the physical. So it can represent the traditional structures, like if you have a religion or you're in a church or in some sort of energy like that. This would represent like the popes, the cardinals, the bishops, maybe rabbis and gurus, whatever that energy is of your church or religion. and that coming down to the traditional structures in law and order of the earth. And if you're more on the spiritual side, that would be like meditation and prayer, going directly to source, to the Most High, and then bringing that energy down. So the Hierophant energy, he has his right hand in the tarot, like he has his right hand in the form of a blessing. And basically it's saying that if you're on the right side of spiritual and physical law, that the Hierophant bringing the justice through will be a blessing for you. And if you're on the wrong side of the law, well, basically there's going to be consequences for your actions. So the reading is basically talking about putting down, if the Hierophant is coming in with justice, and we do have the Judgment card here in the reading here, that's saying that judgment has been called. That represents also the energy on the 3D, like that there's going to be some law and order in the traditional systems of the court systems of the earth. And but spiritually, it's talking about like the energy of the consequences for your actions. If you're carrying the burdens of others, when the karma hits, well, then you're the one who's going to get hit instead of the people that it belongs to. And then both of you will. And so this is the energy of the Nine of Wands. So definitely we have this, you can see here. You did make it home. Congratulations. You didn't quit. You kept going. That's the main thing, right? And this is talking, maybe this is when you were planting these wands and you are leaning heavy on the 9th one. And you can see this is close to his heart. And this is talking about planting a wand, being knocked down and having to get back up to plant the next one and the next one. This person's been through a lot. And the Wounded Warrior energy is talking about the energy of being, on your destined path and doing your best to stay on that path, like being the best version of yourself you can be, trying to do everything the right way as best you can. He does have a big a Band-Aid on his head, and that could say he's got a big headache. And maybe this could be representing that maybe the 9th and the 10th wand, you just laid them down and went home and said, okay, I've got to put down at least 2 of these wands. And then we have this energy here of the Sun. And this is saying that you're going to be really happy now that you've completed this. This was a lot. You can just see how exhausting this has been. The Sun is the happiest card in the deck. It's talking, hello, Stella. Come on, love. There we go. This is the happiest card in the deck, and it's talking about, following God's destined path. This is a child of God riding this pony, and this banner is representing your destiny. And look how easily this child carries his destiny. And there's no reins, no saddle. This is totally bareback, no fear. All of the sunflowers are turning with the sun to soak in the rays. And it's talking about the sunflowers are talking about being happy. And so this is the happiest card in the deck. So it's saying that if the sun, when it shows up in a reading, it spreads light and truth on all the rest of the cards, and also happiness. So it's saying that there will be a happy ending for you. So this is good to see right away here in the reading. And then we have the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is talking about someone who's visionary. This is one of 4 kings in the Minor Arcana. Now the King of Wands is representing the element of fire and this energy. So this could be the energy that you're in, like that you have, maybe whatever you're working on is something that you hold very close to your heart. And it's something that you love to do, or, it feels like that energy. And the King of Wands is really admired for the ability for him to be able to see into the future, kind of like being a visionary and being willing to tackle difficult projects and bring them to fruition. This is talking about being a real forward thinker, like having a very open mind and wanting to, do things in a new, different way. This is someone who's very adventurous and possibly you probably like to travel quite a bit. You're not afraid of other cultures and all of that type of energy. And the element of fire, that's the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius energy. This is an energy of being very independent and able to deal with things, that are enjoying your freedom, basically. So being okay with being on your own, and also being really easily around other people. And the background of his throne here has the salamanders chasing their tail in a circle like that, and the lion. And there's even a little salamander running here. This is talking about having protection from fire, because he rules the fire. And it's also talking, I noticed that there's like a face on the back here. We've got 2 eyes and a mustache. And then we have smoke coming out of the nose and the mouth. And this could just be because he's smoking hot, because he's very charming and someone that people enjoy being around, because it's fun to be around someone that has an open mind and a good sense of humor about life. The thing is also, though, that if there's smoke, there may be fire. And something to know about the fire sign energy, they take a little bit longer to mature. Quite often, and so they would be the last of the other signs to settle down. So sometimes their love of adventure and all things new can really bleed into their romantic life. So it's not unusual for the fire signs to settle down later in life compared to the other signs. And then we have this energy of the 3 of Cups. So the 3 of Cups is talking about a celebration, but they're not being intimate with each other, and they're not celebrating each other. They're celebrating something that has happened. What I don't like about this card is just like the fact that the Cups in Tarot represent love, and quite often romantic love. And no one's looking at each other. There's no intimacy here. So in many cultures, if you toast someone and you don't look them in the eye, they'll freak out on you, like in Europe. Because if they have a superstition there that if you don't look someone in the eye when you're toasting them, it's 7 years bad luck in your love life. But not just in yours, theirs too. And so they'll be like, look me in the eye. And so there's something like this card. It's like a celebration, but sometimes this can also be talking about gossip and slander. And in romantic love, it can talk about a third-party energy. So we'll see. We'll hold our judgment on this energy here. We have this judgment coming through. So, this is talking about God's judgment from the spiritual realm, and then that coming down for the Hierophant to bring down into the traditional structures of the court systems. And the judgment card is talking like we literally have ancestors so happy. They're climbing out of their boxes and they're cheering and they're waving back and forth to the descendants across the veil. And this energy is talking about them. Sometimes this can represent karma that has not been cleared. Maybe your ancestors, before they crossed the veil, there was something that they didn't quite clean up. Or it could be your great-grandmother, great-grandfather, way down the line, great, something to do with something maybe that happened with them that they feel they never got justice for. And maybe whatever you're doing or whatever's happening here is clearing that karma, because if they don't clear it, then the descendants end up having to deal with it. And so if you're doing that, this could be talking about justice coming in, not just for yourself, but for the whole family bloodline. So they're really proud and happy for, that you're doing this. And Yahoo, it's like a real celebration. And then we have, the devil coming up. So yeah, there was some sort of temptation here. There's something that definitely this sometimes can talk about skeletons coming out of the family closet. And then on a bigger level, on a more global level, sometimes this can talk about Pandora's box being opened. And like once Pandora's box is open, you can't just close the lid. It's kind of like you got to deal with whatever has been brought up. And so this energy is the devil is just, it's temptation basically. And you'll notice these two lovers, they are yoked to each other, and they're chained to Saturn's box, and the devil is crouched in between them. And this is talking about, animalistic behavior. And so it's talking about lust rather than love, basically. And whenever the devil comes up, I always just take the next card up to cover it, because you're not going to get the truth from the devil. It's really manipulative energy. But I always like to see, the next card up, who does the devil, what minion does the devil send in? The devil can't do his own dirty work. He's not alive anymore, so he has to get someone to do it for him. And it also could be like, maybe does God step in? So this is talking about someone, a third-party energy being sent in. Oh, Lordy. Okay, so this energy, when you look at it, you can see right away this isn't going to be fun for someone, that's for sure. There's three swords in this heart, and this energy is talking about a major heartache or heartbreak that needs to be dealt with, because the swords represent the energy, the element of air, and this is basically thoughts. The swords are your mental intelligence and discipline of your mind. And, when you first look at it, you're like, well, who's going to recover from 3 swords in their heart? But then when you look more closely, you realize that the heart is actually quite large in context to the size of the swords. So there's some sort of heartache, heartbreak, but you can recover from it. It's going to take some inner work to be able to do so and to be able to move forward. And so quite often this card can talk about forgiveness and, healing of the heart energy. And romantic love, it definitely can represent this is confirming that this is third-party energy. And you notice the heart is in the throat. And our thoughts are expressed through words, whether that be written or if that is verbal. And this could represent gossip and slander and harsh words being spoken. This can also be perjury in court sometimes. The energy is talking about maybe someone who's afraid to speak their truth. And the energy is also talking about, having to have forgiveness here. Now, it can be also saying that there's a heartbreaking decision that needs to be made. So we'll see, what is this about? We have this energy of strength and courage. So the strength card is talking about the energy of healing of this heart, basically. A lot of times when we have this kind of energy, there can be things in our subconscious mind that come up, and this is represented by this young woman here. She wants to reach her infinite potential here, and she knows the only way that she can do that is to reach deep into herself and dig deep and be able to face those fears, those that she's been holding probably since childhood. And the lion is actually this red lion. He's a mature lion, but he's allowing her to do this because he's being very submissive. And this would normally be very dangerous, but he can tell she is determined to face these fears, and so he allows it. And this is talking about the energy of the King of Wands. The King of Wands is pretty fearless. Like, he'll go forward. It's talking about having that energy of being able to, it's okay. You can look at something and you can, break it down and then figure out how to do better next time. It's being brave enough to look at yourself and have the integrity to look at, okay, what do I need to do differently for myself to be able to move forward? And then we have the Knight of Wands. Wow, there's a lot of passion in this reading, a lot of action, lights, camera, action, bottom line. And so the Knight of Wands is talking, he's a rebel with a cause, basically. This is someone, the Knights would work for the King and the Queen of Wands, and they, this is some sort of information or communication coming in. It's sitting on this happiness, so it looks like it's like, it's some information that ultimately you're going to, will make you feel really happy. It's also could be talking about something, that you healed from your childhood, is really allowing you now to be able to be more fearless in facing life. So having more passion, to be able to be more in this energy where you're not afraid to look into the new situations and new things and doing things in different ways. So the Knight of Wands is considered like a rebel with a cause. The big red plume on the back of his helmet here is representing his impulsive nature and maybe having a hot temper as well. But he has learned to rein that in and discipline his mind, rein his emotions in, discipline his mind. And the horse here is heartfelt energy in tarot and about passion. So the horse is rearing up. It wants to go, but he's not allowing it to. He's like, no, we got to be more careful. He's learned a thing or two. You can see that because look at the pyramids are in the back here, and he's already explored those. So it's talking about he has he has some knowledge under his belt now and has learned that it's better not to be impulsive and just be hot-headed and do whatever you feel like in the moment, but to actually do things more based on knowledge. And then we have this transition coming in. So I feel like the transition, it's sitting in between this happy energy and this wounded warrior energy. It's interesting because Chiron right now is went retrograde. Will be going retrograde tomorrow. And this is about the wounded warrior and taking the time to heal. And so, again, it's coming up like to look after yourself and put down burdens that don't belong to you, that you deserve to be happy. You deserve to have a happy life and go, a lot of people are afraid when they see this card, but, tarot is not predictive. It's just a snapshot of what's happening right now in this moment, and it could change in a split second. So this is more about the direction we're headed here. We can see this is where this is headed, and then we can make, change our actions or shift some things, and the next thing you know, it can be a totally different picture. So the transition is, talking about one cycle coming to an end and a new one beginning, which is considered like the death and birth cycle. And so the light at the end of the tunnel is shown in this flag. And we also have like an older person here. He's like trying to stop the Grim Reaper from coming through town. We don't want your change. And the Grim Reaper is like tough because the two things you can count on, they say, are death and taxes. But the third one is change. So change is happening every second of every minute of every day. We don't notice it. We don't notice how change is happening unless it becomes like really obvious to us. And generally, most people don't notice, oh, I just changed like from a minute ago. You could have a phone call or something and get off the phone 10 minutes later and be a totally different person because you just got some news. And if it's profound enough, it could be like totally change your life. So this is the type of energy that change can be like. So it's talking about how quite often we don't notice change or we ignore it because it's not significant enough to change our life in that moment. But then when sometimes it is that way. And so the energy here is talking about the young ones are happy to see the Grim Reaper. The little one here wants to hand him a flower. This is like saying, for the bloom of new. And then we have this energy talking about King has been run over here. And it's not talking about an actual person. What it's talking about is systems that are breaking down, ways, again, this energy of needing to do things in a different way, being in this energy more. It can be like some people are naturally more this way, mostly the fire signs, and, Gemini and Aquarius tend to be very much this way. But a lot of people find change really upsetting and they don't like it and they fight it quite a bit. And the more you fight change, the more challenging it becomes. So this is talking about, some sort of, and it could be something just really simple, like you might have always really, really enjoyed a hobby, and all of a sudden one morning you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like doing that anymore. And you're kind of shocked, and so is everybody else. And they're wondering, oh, great, now what are we going to get them for Christmas? It's kind of that energy. Like, ever since I've known you, you love to do this, and now you're just overnight, you're going to quit. And then, it just comes over you. You realize, you know what, I got everything that I can from this, and I'm ready to do something different with my time. And then we have the Seven of Swords. So the Seven of Swords is about innovative thinking. It's not my favorite card. It's talking about like shift disturber energy. This is like a walking contradiction. Yes, it's an innovative use of the mind, but maybe not necessarily in the most sensible way. We have two swords planted, and then he's sneaking off with these five. Now, I mean, he's a walking contradiction. We don't really know. He might be looking over his shoulder because he has to. He's got this bright red cap and these bright red boots on. He can't, like, how can you miss him, right? And so why is he being sneaky in broad daylight? It doesn't make sense. If he's a thief, he's definitely not a thief in the night. It's broad daylight. We can clearly see him. Sometimes because the swords represent thoughts, this could be sneaking away with intellectual material or patents or something, from plans or some sort of energy like that. Or it can sometimes talk about, I don't know, we don't know, why does he have these two planted here? This is definitely to do with the past. He's looking over his shoulder, maybe because he has to. He's on his tiptoes, sneaking, trying to be quiet as he sneaks away in broad daylight. Now, this quite often can represent someone who is pushing paper, and they're sitting at their desk, and it can represent like white-collar crime, like identity theft and forgery and embezzlement and that type of energy, money laundering, counterfeit. Sitting at their desk in broad daylight, and how are you going to tell? He comes early in the morning and leaves late. A really good employee. He goes for lunch, comes back happy to work some more. And the thing that bothers me about this card the most, though, is the way he's carrying these swords. I don't know. I've never seen anyone carry swords like this. Like, these are super sharp. And if he trips and falls, he could lose his hands here. So it doesn't make sense. And who carries swords like this? It's so dangerous. And if he's this dangerous with his own energy, how careful do you think he's going to be with yours? It's just a walking contradiction. It's one of those things where this is someone I wouldn't let babysit my children. And then we have the Two of Wands here. And this is talking about, an entrepreneur energy, someone who wants to expand their horizons. It's talking about being successful because he has the world in his hands. But he might only come from a village of about 5,000 people. So he's feeling like a big fish in a little pond. And quite often this will remind me of entrepreneur energy. Shift or get off the pot, like my dad used to say. And this is talking about, planting some energy here and maybe being really successful, but understanding, hey, the only way I'm going to be able to expand this business or my life is to maybe move to a bigger center. So this could be talking about changing location or changing the location of a business, or maybe adding franchises to a business or going global. We have this overseas energy, the distant horizon, there's water in between. So sometimes that can talk about maybe going international with your business or something like that. So this is talking about being very successful, but wanting to move forward and being passionate about the energy in that way. And we do have this, it's talking also about, sometimes it can be, maybe you want to, maybe you've been working on getting the pentacles in order. We don't see a lot of pentacles. We don't have any pentacles as of yet. But you clearly have been working hard and planting seeds and wanting to move, to have a strong lifestyle. So this could be maybe you don't, you have met someone, or you want to meet someone to start to fall in love with and start a family, that type of energy. And there we have it. There's the pentacles, multi-millions of them. And so this is talking like Nine of Pentacles is 10 is the most that you can have. And this card is talking about having learned discernment. The figure here, she's pre-Empress energy. And what I mean by that is, like, in the minor arcana, there's 4 queens. And in the major arcana, there's an empress. the Empress embodies the qualities of all four queens, and she does this by going through a lot of life experience and being in this energy of, staying on her destined path, doing her best to be the best version she can be, doing things as correctly as possible, and being successful. And this is talking the Empress energy is considered to be pregnant with possibility. So it could talk about this energy of wanting to start a family, or it doesn't have to. Sometimes it can represent like maybe finding someone that's wanting to partner up with you in your business, or some sort of energy like that. So it's different for different people. But this is taught, the pentacles in tarot represent the element of earth. So this is matters of the earth and earthly matter, like the physical matter on earth. And, there's, this card always reminds me of Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor and genius. He would say, if you knew the beauty of the 369, you would have the key to the universe. This is talking, I think he was talking about having a ratio. Like she has her hand on 2/3 of what she has. And then this is behind her, these three. So, and I feel like this would be like representing having the foresight to know how much to keep and how much to give away or invest in other things. So this is talking about the ability to be able to have the discernment to know how much time, money, and energy that you're willing to pour into a project or an event or a business, whatever that is, or even a relationship. And then what is your anticipated return? And is it a fair exchange of energy? So it's the give and take in life, basically, and learning that. And this energy is saying that you've learned it well. Like this could represent, she has her hand on these 6 pentacles that will look after her needs for running her home, her business, and that. And she knows if she gives too much away, very soon, it won't take long. She won't be able to, she'll be like this, and she won't be able to have that much to give anymore. So it's talking about needing to look after yourself. And then also these might be like, perhaps one of these pentacles would be charity, another one an investment, that's more risky, but if it pays off, it's going to make a lot of money, but it won't affect this ability to meet your obligations if it doesn't work out. And then maybe saving up for a special event or a vacation or a new vehicle or whatever that is. Excuse me. And so there's a huge distance between this energy and this energy, but it's talking about how to get to this energy. So this is saying that you do have a strong foundation for making money. This is talking about the 3 levels of making money. Safe money. So this is, money that you have here to pay your bills and that, but you don't have much left over for your heart's desires or even your crown and glory. And the crown and glory is when you're on your destined path. And it's talking about, being able to have enough to really go after what you want in a strong way. And this is your heart's desires. Now, you notice that he has his back to the city. So this is, and this is a small figure. So this can talk about maybe in the past you've sold yourself short, didn't take some risks that would have been calculated. Like to be able to get to the next level of making money, you have to take calculated risks. I mean, if it's a big risk, you definitely want to get financial advice and know what you're doing. But it's talking about sometimes having to leave your comfort zone to get to the next level. And it's also talking about sometimes being sold short or playing small, like not being willing to take those risks and then just sort of being in the same energy year after year instead of getting to this energy. Basically, this is saying that you have the ability to get here, but you're going to have to put some of your time and your energy into it, to make some changes that will allow you to move forward in that way. And then we have and it can't be this way or that way. This is talking about having, kind of a closed mind about it. Oh, I'll never get there. I'm just going to stay here and I'm not going to go after my heart's desires. or my, my crowning glory. It's talking about that energy, just settling basically. And which is fine. Like a lot of people just want to be comfortable and do that. But if you're in this energy where you're like the rebel with a cause, this energy can be really challenging to deal with. And then we have this talking about, having a closed mind and thinking, oh, there's only two ways that it can happen, this way or that way, and I don't have what I need, so there's no way that I can do it. Seeing no way of being able to do what you want to do or be able to move forward in this way. But, the body language here is weak, and this is like, with the feet out like this, it's talking about leaking energy from the masculine and feminine from the base chakra. And this is about your ability to survive in the 3D and moving forward in that way. And it's also talking about protecting the heart. So there could have been something that happened here that has caused you to, second guess yourself, basically. And the right arm is like, both arms are protecting the heart, and the right arm is holding the left arm back. So this is saying the logical side of you does not want to invite the feeling part of you, your intuitive energy, in. But that's what you need to do to have creative solutions to the problem. There's never only two ways of doing something. But sometimes we can get really trapped in, if we ask a logical question, then we get another logical question. So if you mix your intuition and your logic, you're more likely to come up with creative solutions. And then we have justice at the top here. So the Hierophant is the underlying energy here coming in. So justice for all your hard work. Basically, I feel like that's what this is saying. Sometimes it feels like maybe you're not getting ahead, and you are, but you just can't see the progress. Kind of like when you can't see change happening unless it's like slaps you in the face kind of energy. So the justice is like, she's got her sword up, she's got her right foot forward, ready to make this move. And it's talking, this veil in the background is the spiritual and physical realm. And it's basically talking about this energy coming forward now. And that the Hierophant will, it's dealing with it in the 3D, but there's been a judgment made on the spiritual realm. So this is talking that, God's judgment and the universal judgment. And this can be talking about karma and redemption from karma. A lot of people think that karma is punishment. But karma is really just cause and effect for your actions and sometimes your inactions. So this is maybe why the ancestors are so happy. You might be clearing karma and energy that they couldn't clear up before they left, and then the whole family bloodline is going to be better off. So we have from the bottom to the top of the pyramid and back down again, we have the wounded warrior, a transition from this energy. There could be people sneaking around in the background here that are causing problems for you. But I feel like this energy can also be talking about you maybe needing to be more innovative in your thinking as well because of this closed mind. And then we have the justice is saying, the justice is being the best, knowing that you've done your best to move into the energy that you want to be. It's saying that there's going to be a happy outcome. And it's talking about having passion for what you do and being in this energy here, like all of this energy, really powerful. And having a strong foundation for moving forward and moving into your heart's desires more, and like your ability to really embrace this energy. Healing, this can talk about some sort of forgiveness, or there was heartbreak of some sort, and maybe that made you feel less than. And it's talking about you've done the work to heal this energy and maybe have the confidence to move forward again. And then we have the judgment being called, I feel is just this, in this case, it's just this energy coming in. There could have been a third party energy here that kind of set you back. But that happens quite often in a lot of relationships. And it's, are you willing to do the work inside of yourself to be able to love again and to have, the big picture here? So this is a real good reading. It's talking about, justice in life. I feel like just through living a good life, doing your best to live a good life, being a good person, that kind of energy. Staying on your, doing things as best you can with what you have, and being determined to not give up on your dreams, basically. So let's see if you're leaving the reading here, thank you for your time and energy, and your likes and comments, shares, subscribes. I really appreciate them all. I'm going to clarify now with the oracle cards, and we have the numbers on these cards represent the energy or the paintings as they're listed in my gallery on my website, talesfromthevector.com. I'll put them in the order they appear here in the description box below. So we have the Capricorn energy. This is talking about Capricorn energy is the most ambitious of the horoscope signs. This is the most mature of the element of Earth. So this is talking about really seeing possibilities in the challenges and responsibly moving forward. The Capricorn energy, its glyph is a sea goat. So it's a mountain goat on the front and a dolphin tail on the end. Yet it climbs that mountain, and it's like disciplined, consistent steps of action towards your goal. And that's the energy I feel here. Dissemination, there could be an elephant in the room, and I feel like it has to do with this. Sometimes when we're like this energy and the gossip and the slander and all of that type of energy, it could have caused you a lot of problems in your life here. I feel like it's an energy like that. And then we have the Chariot. So this is talking that this energy is coming in, like it's already happening. The judgment has been made on the spiritual realm. And this is talking about the end of this cycle. And that if you can do the healing energy now, that you're moving into this stronger energy. And then we have disruption. So what's fun for some is not fun for everyone. Yeah, like if there's a third party energy here, and it's with someone that you made a covenant or agreement to just be with the two, a couple, then of course this is not going to be so much fun for the person that is not in the third party, or that's the other half of the couple. I'm sure that the other half of the couple that's with the third party is having more fun than the person left behind. Well, maybe not, though, in the end. Indifference can talk about we're all in it together. And this is, a lot of times people will say, oh, we're all in it together, but we're really not. And you find that out sometimes the hard way. This is like indifference is, it's a karmic space we can fall into, because it's kind of like where you get to the point where you just don't care about other people's suffering. And so, that I need to get this done. And so if someone has to suffer for it, well, to heck with it. That's the way it's got to be. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune is turning here. So the Wheel of Fortune is talking about synchronicity and moving forward in a strong way on God's path. And we have transition coming here. So this sneaky energy, I feel like the sneaky energy has maybe relates back to this, and it's talking about having to do the healing in your heart so that you're open again enough to be confident enough to be able to move forward and embrace life fully again. I think you really got knocked down by this energy. You weren't expecting it, is the energy that and the thing is that sometimes when we have a third party energy or this type of energy going on and it's our significant other, that's one thing. But sometimes the people that are involved in it or that knew about it, or you might have even said to them, I think there's something going on or whatever, and they're like, oh no, but they're part of it. And then you start to realize, well, it's not just your partner, but it's also several other people in your inner circle as well. And then you have to deal with all of that. And then you start wondering, like, well, am I stupid? It's that type of energy. And then we have, it can knock someone's confidence down. And then we have a blind spot energy. The scotoma card is talking about, like, you can have a scotoma in your actual physical eye. And that's an energy of there's little blurring in some of the pixels, right, in the big picture, but it's not something you notice that much. It's kind of like this change thing because it's not in an important part of your eye. And we have that in our life as well, like where you can see something but other people can't, or everybody could see what was going on but you couldn't. And quite often it's because you don't want to see it. It's talking about elephant. What elephant? I don't see that elephant, but it's there. And so it's that type of energy. And then we have the Scorpio energy at the top. So this could be talking about this energy here, but it also can be talking about like the Scorpio energy, and at its finest is unites people. Like Scorpio is very good at using their words to get people to work together. They can elevate with their words to a great deal, or they could be in a conquering energy. So I want to point out that when I do readings, I'm not, and the horoscope signs come up, I'm not trying to single out an individual. Although there could be those signs in your chart, you would know if there are or not. Use your intuition on that. But I just want to make it clear that my goal isn't to single anyone out. It's more about the energy of that sign, like the state of being, like what can you learn from it? If you ever get your birth chart done, you'll notice you have every sign in there somewhere. And so there's a little part of every sign in it. Every sign has its strengths and weaknesses. And it's talking about different ways of dealing with life, basically. So we can learn a lot from that energy rather than, just ignoring it or not wanting to understand how other people think. And even like how we maybe within ourselves, we think differently from one day to another. Or, if you never had an experience in a certain way, then you don't really know what that feels like. But if you haven't, oh, there's a bunch of sirens outside here again. Man, there's been a lot of sirens today. We have a lot of smoke in the air around here again. Not too bad, but really unfortunate. There's some people that lost homes and stuff. So it's been like the energy is kind of heavy that way. It's so sad when you think of people, like that's what I mean. Like last week they're doing their whatever you do, and then now they're like waiting to find out if they're one of the people that lost their home. It's really challenging energy for sure. But anyway, it's saying that even when we go through these challenges, and that we can learn from it and move forward in a stronger way. I'm going to leave this reading then, and I do hope you receive benefit from it. Thank you for your likes, comments, shares, subscribes. I'll be back with another daily reading for you again tomorrow. Bye for now.